haven't been waiting for a response. I've actually been waiting for validation, you know? I've been waiting for somebody to say, you know, you've got great writing capability, what you've got to offer is brilliant, you matter, your story matters, your journey matters, these other women's stories who were within this book, their stories matter.
Drive. So what I started to do, I started to just like buy and sell domain names when the internet was like literally you had to plug it into your wall. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's so easy because you're chasing this dream and this vision that you have, and to feel as though you need to be working all hours of the day. And yes, there are some days where you need to push yourself that little bit harder, but you really need, if you haven't got your health and your well-being, you haven't got any business.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of She's the Boss Female Entrepreneur Stories, where I interview phenomenal women in business from all areas of the UK and beyond, and at varying different stages of their entrepreneurial journey. If you haven't already done so, as I say every week, please make sure you click that subscribe button so that you're the first to know when a new video is released. In addition to She's the Boss Female Entrepreneur Stories, I am going to also be releasing midweek videos focused on business, entrepreneurship, and personal and professional development. So make sure you click that subscribe button. So today I am really excited because I am joined by the founder of Wholistic Body Life, Francesca Blechner. Hi, Francesca. Thank you for joining.
Hi.
You're my first family member that I've interviewed. Not my family, but I've interviewed your sister. So if you haven't already watched that, please also make sure you go and check out my interview with Daniela Blechner. But tell us about Wholistic Body Life. What is your business all about? What is the audience that you serve, and kind of what is your motivations for running your business?
So I'm really passionate about helping people to restore health, harmony and balance in a fast-paced world. And so I use a variety of tools from my 20 years background in working in fitness, holistic health, well-being. So going from holistic health coaching, transformational breath and body work, structural realignment, postural realignment, that helps to align mind, body, spirit, helps people to connect to themselves in a very whole integrated way in the modern day world that we're living, which is very fast paced. So I see a lot of people who are burnt out, business leaders, entrepreneurs who are trying to do it all, but are really struggling with their health. And for me, health it's not just about the physical, but it's the mental, emotional and spiritual. Mm-hmm. And my background did start off mostly in the physical because I was personal training like 18 years ago. And I did that for many years. I was personal training for many years. And the focus in the industry of personal training is very much about the physical aesthetics, losing weight, getting flatter abs, well, it's a lot better now. The wellness movement in the last 5-6 years has really exploded, and there's much more of a holistic approach. But when I was personal training, it was very much based on aesthetics and look at how you looked, looking from the external or losing weight. And I always had more of a holistic approach, and over time I was dissatisfied with there wasn't enough space to address the mental, emotional and spiritual aspects, which led me on to training a variety of different modalities, and also to help with my own issues of constantly being on the go and then hitting the edge of burnout many times just from being too physically busy and active.
So you sound like you just spoke about my actual life right now. So I'm really excited to continue into this interview. And so what I'm going to do for the first part is kind of speak about what you've just spoken about. So burnout and how to manage that stuff. Because I think people watching, especially busy business owners, can probably get some really valuable insight from you. And then we'll go more into your personal journey. So when you speak about burnout, because you hear people, especially within the kind of entrepreneurship space, speaking often about burnout, but I don't necessarily know if people know exactly what it means. So for me, I feel like burnout is some sort of like if you have a physical breakdown, like you can't move. Am I being dramatic, or is that what burnout is?
Well, I mean, that's definitely more of an extreme end, but as human beings, we are meant to thrive as a human species. But lifestyle at the moment, and the environment and stress and the way that we are working, means that a lot of people are in this survival mode. So in science, in the physiology of the body, you have the nervous system, the central nervous system, which is a little bit like the computer software program inside your laptop or computer. And this internal software program, the nervous system, works on two branches: the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system is very much about the action, the doing, muscle production, getting stuff done. And that's important. We do need some stress in our lives, because that gives us our get up and go as well. So stress isn't always a negative thing. And then you've got the parasympathetic, which is much more to do with digestion, relaxation, restoration, and breathing. And so and that also helps with repair, so helping to keep the immune system ticking over. So these two branches are meant to work interchangeably throughout the day, like a dance. Sometimes we're in our action stage, and we're doing, and we're working out, and we're mobilizing our muscles. And then at other times we're meant to be in that restoration and that digestion stage, and breathing and taking rest. And actually our rhythms, our biological rhythms, are to go up and down throughout the day. But what's happening is that most people are on this sympathetic pathway constantly of doing, pushing. Maybe they're then working really hard in the day, and then they hit it hard in the gym, and then they go out and socialize, and they're drinking lots of alcohol and eating a big meal late at night, which is a lot of stress on the adrenals and on the physiology. And so doing that day after day after day, the body doesn't have a chance to find its harmonic balance, its homeostasis. And so really, even being a little bit out of a line of that, if we're healthy, we can bounce back more quickly. So that's where building up your resilience, your physiological resilience, is important to be able to thrive in this environment. And so burnout would be constantly on that sympathetic pathway, and it will manifest in different ways. On an extreme end, it is like you actually physically can't get out of bed. You feel exhausted, you have no energy, no matter how long you sleep, because the adrenals are like completely pretty much depleted. But if we start to become more in tune with the body, we're able to catch those signs way before. And so it might start off by constantly getting every cold that's going by. Or the classic is you go on holiday, as soon as you rest, you get ill because the immune system has been suppressed. So really that's heading towards burnout. So it just depends where on the scale is enough is enough. We want to be in a thriving state, to be able to bring ourselves back into alignment.
That's so interesting. So I feel like I probably was having burnout a couple of weeks ago, because I was experiencing that constant exhaustion, and no matter how much I slept, I wasn't feeling energized. And then I started to do this no devices after 8 o'clock for the month of October. As soon as I started that, I felt fine again. Like, I'd been to the doctors for blood tests and everything. I'm like, I'm dying, something's wrong. And as soon as I started to switch off at 8 instead of working into the night, I felt fine. So that's interesting. And also my brother, he's an entrepreneur and he works a lot, and whenever he has a holiday, he gets sick every single time. As soon as he has any time off, he's ill. So maybe I need to get him to watch this as well.
Because it's like that typical sign. And I have many clients who they go and they will be working hard, and then they get to their holiday. In fact, I was talking with a client yesterday who was just like, I'm going on holiday next week, and literally I just can't wait as soon as I get on holiday, I can relax. I'm like, well, you can choose. The week doesn't have to be as manic. You can choose to really have a grounding practice so that you're not in the thought process of, I've just got to get through the day. I've just got to get through this week. I've just got to get through to get to holiday, because then that becomes your life. You get stuck on this loop on, I'm just living till I can get to this retreat, then I can relax. I'm just living until I can get to this holiday, then I can relax. But however, if we start to change our lifestyle and implement certain practices and tools and change the way we eat and be in rhythm with our circadian rhythms and the time that we're going to bed and the time that we're off our devices, then we are able to become more resilient to the environment that we're living in, which the way that we're working and doing is not really supportive to our physiology. Hasn't really evolved to that pace. The pace of technology and the pace of being instantly available. Like I had a client the other day who wasn't up that early in the morning, but was having a meeting, had a conference meeting with Australia. So the time difference it's for Australia it was late in the evening, and for UK it was early in the morning. So technology is an amazing thing, but what it does mean for some people working globally is they're actually constantly switched on, because they're maybe connecting with New York when it's late in the evening for them. And the thing with technology devices is really, really an important thing, because what happens is the blue light from the screen actually stimulates your body to secrete cortisol, and it thinks it's the morning. It thinks it's morning. Thinks it's morning time, blue like the sky. And so as you secrete the stress hormone cortisol, which gives your get up and go, what that does is it actually suppresses melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. So the sleep hormone, repair hormone. And so this is quite often when people find they get this second wind late at night. They're on their devices and they go, oh, 10:30, let me just finish off I've got this second win, because what's happening, physiologically
all the time. I'm like, I'm tired all day, and then it gets to the evening and I'm wide awake.
Because you've tricked your body, because physiologically it's actually secreting hormones to think that it's daytime, so everything's backwards. And so what happens is the melatonin is being suppressed, which is a deep sleep repair hormone, and hence then over time, once we can bounce back from, no problem. But over time, constantly, then that's starting to suppress the immune system, because you're not getting that immune repair and deep sleep and rest at the time that we should, which is 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. is physical repair, and then 2 a.m. till 6 a.m. is physiological repair. So repair of the mind, the subconscious mind. And so over time that also wears down the adrenals and the immune system. So making a change of that can make a significant difference, and it's free.
I'm after this, I'm not going to make it about me again, but I can't help but to ask. I've been waking up every night at 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the morning for no particular reason. And you just said they're the two end points of sleep. So that's really like literally 2 a.m. on the dot and 6 a.m. on the dot.
Okay.
That seems like it's really in line with what you said. So I really believe that, that must have been a burnout thing, and my body is not working.
2 till 6 a.m. is a time of mind repair, the mental repair. What will be interesting to look at is in Chinese medicine, there is what's called a qi rhythm, and so the organs have a certain time of day and all night, 24-hour cycle. There's a certain time where each organ is most active, and so I'm not quite sure what it is for 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., but that may be something to look up to see which organ is most active or going through repair at 2 a.m. and then which organ is it at 6 a.m. It's kind of hardwired. So that it sounds like more of a sign of that.
Okay.
That of an organ that may be under stress.
Sorry, I'm just so fascinated. Like, this is so fascinating to me right now. But I'm going to bring it back to you. So we've spoke about kind of the science behind it. And I know that you started as a personal trainer at 17, you said, in your information. And it
17.
said that, yeah, and that you always kind of was about business. Where did that come from? Was there something that happened in your life as you were younger that made you say, actually, I'm not going to work for anyone, I'm always going to work for myself? What happened?
No. So I did my training when I was 17, my personal training qualification and sports massage. And I always knew I was either wanted, when I was at school, I was either wanted to be a PE teacher or a personal trainer. I'm one of those people who knew from a young age. And then I went to uni, and from that time, from when I was 18, I did start working in gyms part-time and throughout my whole time at uni. When I left uni, I already had a job with Virgin Active at the time. There was only 2 then before they bought out everybody. And so I started working there full-time. I was already working in the London one and in the Leeds one where I was studying. And then I built up my own personal training business within that club. I worked for the club, so I was employee or Virgin Active, but you kind of run your own business within the gym anyway. No, I never had intention of working for myself. Okay. I never deemed myself as someone who was a business person at all. So it was very organic, and I think how it built, I'd made connections and relationships there because I'd been working there for the past few years through my university. So I built up my client base very quickly. I had lots of referrals. And you know what I think? Passion first. That was something that I learned from an early age. I always did my passion. And so with passion, my business grew. And then from there, I got to a point after a couple of years where there wasn't much progression. There wasn't any more room for me to progress. They kept changing management and stuff, and then they were putting you on different rates. And so somebody asked me to come to this other club where you would be self-employed and freelance, and kind of that was it was quite scary. It was scary but exciting because he had all these new perks. It's like, oh, I can claim expenses back for all of these things. And they put us on like a business course, like a few days business sales course to sort of help you build your business. And I just went. I kind of left the Virgin Active in a bit of stubbornness. Like I wasn't able to get to the next level that I had wanted and new management. So I was like, fine, I've got another option. So I went off, I kind of just dove in head first, did the business course, learned a lot. It was only a few days and had to start from scratch. And that was hard. And I did it. And now it's almost like once you know, if you don't know what you don't know, like it was like that. So now I knew this other way. It was like I would never go back. I was away. I even though it was tough to start from scratch again. It was I would never go back. I could never work for anybody else. So I've always done that since I was 22. I worked for myself. I ran my own business. And that's the only way I've ever worked. And so when you're passionate about something, it also grows organically as well. And
also knowledgeable, because you clearly, in addition to the passion, you know your stuff. And I think that shines through and then also exemplifies this passion, because if you weren't passionate about it, you wouldn't be so knowledgeable, I guess, is the thing. And I think people feed off that. When you're really knowledgeable and passionate in sharing that knowledge, people will naturally gravitate towards you and see you as an expert.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I look back, I've been really blessed in like some of the experiences and the opportunities I've had, amazing opportunities, and traveled. And I really put it down to, because at that age, I am obviously now, I am a business person. I have done that for, like, it's the only way I've known I've worked. But before that, like from school, or college, I'd always be like, business studies, no, not for me, not interested, no idea. I don't, you feel like my head would start getting jumbled at the idea of business or business studies. But I did. I ran my own business when I look back from a young age, and successfully. And I put it down to, when you lead with passion, the rest follows.
Was there ever a point from when you started and up until whichever point, I don't know when that would be, where you were resistant to the idea that you were a businesswoman because of your aversion to business previously?
Yeah, when I look back, actually, I remember this when I was at Virgin Active, and there was a lady a woman that I was training, and I remember her making a comment saying, "Oh yeah, you're a businesswoman." And I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm so not." But then I was like, "Wow, I didn't recognize that in myself then." And I wasn't like, the only difference from Virgin Active to then where I went was that Virgin Active paid me, whereas I still was in charge of my hours. I was still getting my own clients. I was still, selling my services myself. So the only difference when I moved somewhere else was that I was handling the payments, clients paying me. But apart from that, it was like, yeah, actually, that, of course, I was running my own business. I was but I couldn't connect.
Yeah, I was going to say, when did you make that connection? Do you remember when you thought, actually, yes, I am a businesswoman, and I'm going to say that that's what I am?
Yeah, I guess when I started working up in town, and it was like, oh, well, you're self-employed now, you're freelance, you can claim they have all these benefits when you work for yourself. And I was like, yeah, this is me driving this. So I think that changed. And then also, there was pressure. It was hard to start from scratch. But then over time, over the years, there was also freedom, the freedom of like, well, I can take time off whenever I want. I don't have to, there's no one to ask. I don't have to give days in. Like, this is actually free. This is freedom.
Would you say freedom has been the kind of the greatest joy for you in terms of being self-employed and running your own business?
Do you know what though? But I don't think I've ever experienced it any other way, because because even when I did work for Virgin Active, I still had freedom and flexibility, so I could still choose when I was going away. I just wouldn't get paid.
Yeah, no, definitely. What would you say then? What would you say is the greatest thing for you about doing what you do and being in business?
And being
in business, being a businesswoman, what is the greatest thing for you? Obviously, you don't know anything else because you started so young, but is there any, like, do you wake up and think, wow, this is the best bit about doing what I do?
I think the best bit is, I do find it hard to switch off. That's the difference, is that it's like it consumes you. But I think if you love what you do, then it's a part of you. I think the best thing is that actually there's in this time and age, we're coming into a time and age where there's infinite possibilities, especially in wellness. And so now seeing what other people are creating in wellness in the online field, and I've just written a book, so I'm really excited about that. That's coming out next year. And so the possibilities, there's more possibilities. Like I work with clients one-to-one, and I'm also doing corporate events, and I get to travel and go on and work on retreats as well. And potentially I could do my own retreats. So there's possibilities, and online programs now. The online space is infinite possibilities, especially in wellness. So that's what I'd like to tap into next. So in that way, I think the best thing is that I'm always growing and inspired. It's never always the same. So I started off personal training, but now what I do is really very different, and that's because I've continually evolved and grown and developed and educated myself, and that keeps me alive. Otherwise, if I'm stagnant, then I lose my desire and interest and passion.
And I think that's so important. Similarly, I started in one area and I've continued to learn and develop and kind of innovate, and ended up in quite a different space from where I started. And I think for me, that's one of the beautiful things about entrepreneurship and business, that there's no limitations. You kind of decide what you want to do and you do it, and there's no boss to say, actually, I don't like that idea. It's up to you to decide whether you like that idea or not. Congratulations on writing a book. Tell us about that process, because for me, I'm in the process of writing a book. It's taken me way longer than it should, but I know that there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are thinking of writing a book or in the process of writing a book, and probably would like to know how you found the experience. Obviously, I assume you have the benefit because your sister works in that field, but how has the journey been for you in publishing, going through that publishing process?
Yes, so actually it is about a year and a half ago. Well, actually a couple of years ago, 2 Christmases ago, my sister said, Daniela, who said, for Christmas, will you do some health coaching for me, and you can come on my workshop, the Power of Your Story workshop? And I was like, okay. I was like, so I need to write a book? She goes, yeah, you should write a book. And I always had wanted to. I had like a rough idea of combining the wellness and nutrition and all the things that I know into one book, and the mental side and the mental well-being. And then, so I went to her workshop, which is amazing. And I got the inspiration of the idea of what to call the book, who it was going to be aimed at, and what it was going to be about. Yeah. And I did start writing. I wrote for a few months. I had a really busy year last year. I was doing some training in my breath work. I had to do 40 case studies. And so the book kind of got like pushed to the side. I had months where I didn't write. And then something just happened in me this year. I think you have to have like space, headspace. And the inspiration just started to come and just started to flow through me. And every morning I would wake up and be like, I've got to write about this today. This is what I've got to write on this week. And it was like this divinely guided inspiration. And you have to be disciplined as well. I mean, I said no. I said no to so many things. I said no to seeing people, to meeting up for coffee. It's like, no, I have a couple of hour gap here. I'm sitting down, I'm writing my book. I'm writing. I was writing when I was like at airports. Actually, I did a lot of writing at airports on my iPad, on Google Docs and stuff. And then, yeah, it just came together. But the best thing my sister said was to get the blurb done first, the back cover, what it's about. And so I wrote that blurb after the workshop. I wrote it once and I haven't changed it. Wow. It was perfect, and it set the scene. And then write the contents, depending if it's fiction or non-fiction. Mine's non-fiction, so it's self-help. So then writing the contents again really helped me to split it up into sections, and then I could write from there. And yes, I'll be publishing through my sisters.
Well, I will definitely be purchasing a copy, because just speaking to you for this short time, I'm like, I need to know more. So definitely I'll be looking at that. What has been your proudest moment on your kind of business journey? Is there anything that you look back and think, well, two questions. Is there anything you look back and think, wow, I'm so proud that I did that? And have there been any opportunities or things that you hadn't done, or maybe you said, I'm not ready for this, that you regret not pursuing? So proudest thing, and some people don't have regrets, but anything you look back and say, I wish I'd done this and I will be doing it, or the chance is gone.
Well, I've got two proudest is writing a book, because that was a good year. And also I had an amazing opportunity about 8 years ago. I worked with a royal family from the Middle East, and I got flown to the Middle East. This was when I was personal training, so I was personal training a couple of the ladies. That was a really special moment. They put me up in the palace. I got flown by private jet. Went to New York. That was really cool. So I did that a couple of times for a couple of weeks stretch. I'd say that's my proudest. And then regrets. Opportunities. You know what? Not that I can think of. I mean, there's been loads of opportunities that haven't come to fruition, but then something else always comes up. And then as I look back, I'll be like, maybe years later, I might see it and go, actually, do you know what? That wasn't right for me. But at the time, I remember there was a retreat that I really had my heart set on working on, which is in Kenya. It's called Wild Fitness. And I did the coaches training and everything. I thought I was going to get the job. And I didn't, and I was really, really gutted. And it's all about wild movement and moving as nature intended, and being outdoors and being barefoot running and stuff. But as I look back now, I'm like, no, that's cool. That wasn't. I don't feel an emotional attachment to that. It's like, no, I don't think I would have wanted to do that actually.
No, I love the way you answer that question, because sometimes people do dwell a lot on, I wish that happened to me or for me, and sometimes it's just not supposed to be for you. And I'm a big believer that something better will always come along, or something different that is more suited to you. So I know a year or so ago, there was a contract that I was really dead set, I need it. And they came back, and the amount that they wanted to pay me was not anything that I was interested in. I remember my husband saying, oh, just do it, it'll be a really good experience. And I'm like, I don't need the experience now. I've already got the experience, and they should pay me for that. And I said, no, I don't want part of it. And within about 2 weeks, another company came and wanted me to do a contract, and it was 12 grand more.
Wow.
And I said to my husband, now see, had I taken that other one, I wouldn't have ever had the opportunity to do this one. So I think it's really important. And as I said at the beginning, when I asked the question, many people don't believe in regrets, but I know that there's people that do. And for the people that do, I think that's a really valuable lesson. It's not, everything is not for you.
Absolutely. You get tested. I mean, honestly, at that time, that was about 6 years ago. I was devastated. I was gutted that they because I was chasing it so much. Every time I replied to them, they'd be like, no, we've set our coaches for the year. I would have gone out to Kenya for like 5 months or so. I'm very good friends with one of the coaches who worked for them, and then they picked someone else over me, even though they had said that they had got people for the whole year. So I was like, they, why did they not tell me the truth? And but it actually wasn't. It wasn't for me. And at that time, I think I was really wanted to I just wanted to get out of the country. That's not the right reason.
Yeah, no.
But I think, I don't know. I think because my journey went from doing a lot of the physical training and stuff, and that would have been very, very physical. Now I'm much more slowed down. I've wound down, and I'm much more about personal healing, transformation, trauma work, and that's where my calling is. That's where my passion is. I think that I would have still had to be on that verge of like pushing myself physically. It was a very physical job.
Definitely.
Yeah, looking back, like right now, I do that.
Tired is long. No, I love that, and that takes us nicely into the advice portion, because that was kind of a bit of advice. Don't have any regret. What 3 pieces of advice would you give to a woman who is in the early stages of her business or who wants to start a business? What advice would you like her to know?
I think follow your passion. So do something you're passionate about and follow that passion. The second one is have fun. That's something I actually talking is a message for myself, because I've done a lot in the last couple of years with the 40 case studies of training, writing my book, and I do find it hard to switch off. And so that is now, I can feel it, it starts to build up resistance, where you're like, just need to do something that's completely unattached from my business right now, and like have fun, because when you have fun, you actually create more space to attract the opportunities, rather than if you're always pushing and chasing or trying to make things happen. Sometimes that creates resistance, so knowing when to actually pull back. And the third thing is like, there is no failure. There's just try things out. I've refined so many of my things. I've refined so many of my programs. I've written programs. I've scrapped them. I've done packages and gone, okay, change that. So there is no failure. It's just it's a continual practice and learning growth, and learning and business and growth is not linear. It's
Yes. I definitely agree with that.
trial and error.
Yes, for sure. If people want to find out more about your business, what platforms are you on? Where can they find out that information?
My website, Wholistic with a W, bodylife.com, and also Wholistic Body Life on Instagram and Facebook. And my book is Self-Care for Life in the City, out January 2020.
I will be putting that on my New Year book list, and I definitely
great New Year book. It's going to be good.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for speaking with me today. I really enjoyed it, and I've certainly learned a lot. And I was moving away from the closing off devices at 8 because I was falling behind on stuff, but you've really reaffirmed, actually, 8 o'clock, turn it off and get some sleep. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
It will give you more back in the long run. That email can wait.
This is true. That's on all of the whiteboards around my wall. I'm going to go and write that. So thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time out and sharing your expertise.
Thank you. No, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Perfect. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, please make sure that you click that like button, share, write a comment. I know that there must be something that you've taken away from this interview, so please share with us what it's meant to you. And if you haven't already done so, I'm going to keep banging on about it. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll be back next week on Sunday at 8 o'clock with another female entrepreneur stories. And if you want to get involved, please drop me an email to Daniela at she'sthebossinternational.com.